Welcome to Food for the Soul. I'm your host, Keanna Swindell, and on today's show, we'll be giving you your fix of spiritual and intellectual nourishment. So stay tuned. We'll be right back.
If you could sit with me, imagine what you'd see if every child had a book to read.
So the mission is for us to get a book to each and every child.
So let's join hands, book people unite. Unearth hidden passion. Come on, we'll have a good time.
One book can be the first thing that helps to change a life. People unite.
Read to a child today and spark a lifetime of ambition.
Welcome back to Food for the Soul. I'm your host, Keanna Swindell, and on today's show, we're talking with talented individuals who are following their dreams. Joining us now is Miss Jean Childs, who is an early childhood professional and now a children's book author of her first work, The Room at the Top of the Stairs. We're proud to have you on today's show. Welcome to Food for the Soul, Miss Childs.
Thank you.
Thank you again for coming today. So, this is a book, children's book.
Right.
How'd you get started writing children's books?
Well, this is my first book, so as far
congratulations.
as writing, thank
Yeah.
you. This is my first book, and it is based on something that's very dear and very personal to me. So it was an idea that I had formatted, a good 10, 12 years ago, and decided to run with it. And it was a poem in a story form about a specific family and the adventures that happened in the home of this specific family. And I had created the poem. And I kept saying, one of these days I'm going to make it into a book, So that's what I did.
So you say you wrote the poem 10, 12 years ago, you
Yes,
say?
yes.
And then now you just, so it took you some time to decide to go ahead and jump right in and decide to write it?
To write it, I did. Like I said, I wrote the poem. It just came as an inspiration to me, and I'd love to tell you the story behind it.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, go right ahead.
Well, the book is regarding, and it's about the home of a very dear extended family member who was a member of my church, and she and her family became family to us. Mm-hmm. She lived in the area, lived very close to the church that I attend and where my husband pastors in D.C., and we would go down there to her house every day after, or not either every day or after church on Sundays, either just to sit and talk. And many children, like I said, she became extended family. Many of our youth in the area, my own children, her grandchildren, all in this one big household, rollicking. Yes, total generations. And what would happen was, when we got to the house, the kids would head upstairs. And upstairs, one of the bedrooms was basically their playroom, of course, while the grown-ups did all the grown-up stuff downstairs. The kids would head upstairs to the television, and between just playing with each other and just being children, they would get into the video games that were set up in there.
Oh,
and
children's
they would just
paradise.
Totally. And they would just tell each other stories, and they would play games on video games. And then when it was time to go home, parents would be at the bottom of the steps calling, saying, let's go, it's time to go. And of course, by then you couldn't find shoes, you couldn't find anything. And it was just a heck of a time trying to get the kids downstairs. So that's what this story is based on.
Wow. You know, that's something I believe all of us wish we could have as a part of our childhood or your children's childhood. It's a place that holds so many memories for you, that brought you to writing the poem and now the book, The Room at the Top of the Stairs, excuse me. So you mentioned that this is your first book.
It is.
Every author we know has their own writing process. How did you approach and conquer the writing process? Because I know you said the initial idea you had was a poem years ago. How did you, actually bring the book to fruition? Yeah.
In part because of, I think, the way I was brought up. I was exposed to literature. My parents exposed us to literature and good bedtime stories from the time that we were little girls. So I've always had sort of a creative flow going. And just other little musings and things that I would put down on paper. And like I said, this family was the inspiration for me to bring it to. And finally, I had introduced the poem to this this dear lady that we fondly called Gramps or Aunt Virginia and Mom or Grandma or whatever came out the mouth.
Warm feelings.
Warm,
towards
fuzzy
it, right?
feelings. Yeah. And I told her, she'd heard the poem. Sadly, she passed before, but I would always tell her, I'm going to make a book out of this. So it's just one of those little dreams and things that you put on your burner of life, and you say, I want to get to this, I want to get to this. And so, like
list.
I said, she never saw the book, but she heard the poem, and I always promised her, I said, I'm going to bring this into being one day.
So, okay, well, you know, at least, you know, they always say, give people their flowers, you know, while they're still here. And at least she was able to hear the poem, because I guess that probably, I could imagine that had to be a lot of the push that pushed you towards, you know, actually bringing the book and creating the book. And really like, you know what, time is now.
I'm going to do this. Yes,
you know,
exactly.
It takes time, you know, to actually, things have to happen when it's right. You know what I mean?
Time.
So it seems like maybe now everything has pushed to the right
the
point.
things just kind of fell into place. Everything,
exactly.
you know, when I was able to find a publisher and really, and I said, I'm going to do this now. It is.
So what was that process with finding the publisher? Like, you know, all the steps, like, you know, I guess you could kind of take us, if I wanted to write a book and I'm a first-time author, I mean, what are some of the steps you actually had to go through?
Well, for me, and also you think about the internet now. And when I first started this, the internet was non-existent. You know, it was just basically World Wide Web wasn't even in existence. So definitely with the ability to do research online, and I just once you understood what Google was all about and how to use Google.
Google would change your life.
It certainly did, and it did mine. So I put into Google children's book publishers. And I found this specific publisher. I knew nothing about the process, but what this specific publisher had, the package that was offered, just seemed to make sense. And it was within a range of, there is money that has to go into creating something like this, and you have to have the resources to do it. And fortunately, things fell in. The family contributed, you know, members of the family contributed to the creation of this book. And I just kind of, it was funny, I put this particular publisher's name into Google, and all I saw was hit after hit after hit, and it was almost like this publisher took a beat. And I said, that's the one I want to go with.
Nice.
And so the package seemed to make sense.
You know, so is it safe to say that writing a book is no fly-by-night deal? Like, it's something that you definitely need to, like you said, money goes into it, time, and for the Room Upstairs is a story that you hold so dear to you. I can imagine it took you time to really cultivate how you wanted to tell the story of the Room Upstairs.
The process that I was taken through, and each time you format the book, and you tell the publisher and the artist what do you envision happening on each page, and then they will send you back and forth. So there's a whole lot of back and forth. You have to communicate. They sent me pictures, and we did a whole lot of tweaking here and there. And no, that's not what I wanted, or yes, I love that.
Really honest about it.
Very honest until finally you have your finished product.
Nice. Okay. So you're a teacher, and you've been an early childhood professional for some time. How would you say that's impacted your choice to write this book, or to dive into being a children's author? Yeah.
I think, and especially because I am, after teaching for many, many years, and of course teaching reading is part of it, and you get to know good literature. You get to know what interests children. You understand it within the art of teaching, the science of teaching, what children like, what interests them, how words should flow, new words that you can put in, and so it's all a part of the process. So having read so many, I'd almost rather pick up a children's book from the library and read it rather than an adult book. So just enjoying the literature, the genre of children's literature.
See, that's one thing I've always noticed is, like, you know, we all as adults, we're all surrounded by children in some form of fashion. If we're not, you know, blessed to be a teacher, we have siblings or nieces, nephews, grandchildren, and children often bring a lot of joy to adults in adult lives, and I know you probably have experienced your fair share
daily,
of that as a teacher.
Yeah.
Would you say that writing this book has brought you more joy, would you say? Or could you speak to the joy the unexpected joy you might have gained from bringing this book to life?
Yes, because now I have something that I can share. As a matter of fact, one of my colleagues where I teach has a copy of the book, and she has read it to her students, and actually they're in upper grades now, and I think there are a few of them that I taught, and they're fascinated with it. You know, Miss Childs, she wrote this book, and so anything that you do with children brings you joy, and if they can see you, and that's the other part of it too, I think if our children can see us producing and performing in positive ways, it definitely gives them something to look up to and look forward to. So yes.
Absolutely. I mean, I've always been envious of people that work with children because, you know, every now and then when you're around children, I don't know, like I said, you just get so excited. They bring you that joy. And just, actually, one thing I wanted to know, what age group would you say the room up at the top of the stairs is written for?
The reading of it probably from third grade. The interest level from third to maybe about fifth graders. It is readable by, and I understand what goes on with children are reading new words, and so it's certainly the concept of parents or kids playing video games. We know that children are comfortable with that. So the actual reading is easily read by any child from even a good second grade child who's able to read well. So anywhere between second to fifth grade, because of the content, there are a couple of vocabulary words. If a teacher wanted to use this, there are a couple of other vocabulary words within the book that could be used and identified.
So honestly, as being a teacher for, you say, over 20 years?
Over 20.
Over 20 years. And then now
way over 20.
Okay, well, you know, you are a veteran in the game. There seems to be, and then you say you took your time. One thing I've noticed too is I was English major in school, so I noticed you have to take your time writing things and making a piece of work. What would you say, how important, all of that makes you one of the most qualified people to be an author of a children's book. How would you say, how important have you noticed that it is for a child, especially in the age of technology and video games and internet is like the #1 thing of the day for many people. How important would you say it is for a child to have a healthy reading and speaking environment, especially in the midst of all this technology today?
Oh my goodness, yes. Studies and research have shown for decades that children who do not come from a print-rich, it's one of those teacher terms we coin, a print-rich environment where there are books at home, where children are being read to, where they have lap time in the evenings with their parents to read, are at a loss by so many thousands of vocabulary words by the time they get to school. So it becomes very, very difficult sometimes, frustrating, but certainly incumbent on teachers to expose children to books. Many, many days and many times in all my years of teaching, I've heard many kids say, I don't have any books at home.
Wow.
And
so unfortunate.
It really, really is. You know, you think about the family income, the family difficulties that may be going on, just the culture at home of understanding what reading is, and you don't plop your child down in front of a TV or a video game.
Well, now, thanks to you, the children have another book that they can read. Yeah. We're almost out of time, but how can our viewers find out more about the room upstairs? I'm sorry, the room at the top of the stairs by Miss Jean Childs. How can we get in touch with you or find out more and follow your future projects?
On Facebook, you can go to the Facebook page and Facebook/Room at the Top of the Stairs.
Okay.
And you will find the information there about how you can access the book.
All right. Yeah. Well, it was a pleasure talking to you. I'm so glad you wrote this book. I know the children could definitely use it.
I thank you.
So when we come back, joining us will be television enthusiasts who are making their television dreams come true right here at CTV. So stay tuned. We'll be right back. It's Food for the Soul. Yes.
Michael Adams?
Here.
Michael Adams?
Here.
Michael Adams.
Michael Adams.
Students who miss 18 days of school in any grade risk falling behind and not graduating. Absences add up. Keep track at boostattendance.org today.
I think mentors like being a mentor because they'll really enjoy it. They'll enjoy the kids, they'll enjoy teaching kids, they will enjoy helping kids.
I just love helping children.
Well, I'm reading better now because of her.
It really does make me really feel proud of her.
My mentor is a great person. When I grow up, I want to be just like my mentor. Mentoring works. Become a mentor.
Joining us now are former students and now producers here at Prince George's Community Television, Dabu Dabu and Saul Hamilton. Welcome to the show, guys.
Hello.
So, we're glad to have you. Nice to be on the other side of things now, huh?
Absolutely.
So as producers, you all have a lot of experience, especially you, Saul, with working with shows and being behind the scenes for shows. Tell us a little bit about your history here with CTV, because you all are veterans here at Prince George's Community Television. No particular order.
I was very fortunate. I have been here since 1992. It was, I saw a 3/4-inch recorder at a friend's house one day. I said, what's that? It was this gigantic thing. I said, what is that? So he explained to me that this is the kind of apparatus used in television. Because I had never seen one like, we don't see the actual equipment used in real television. So I said, okay, where'd you get this? I mean, what TV? So he explained about CTV, that he was a member and taking classes there. So that was a wake up for me. I thought it was incredible. So you're taking television courses to be on or be associated with real TV? He said, yes. So I was stunned, So I went and tried to get information about this and found out that this was the actual equipment, because I thought it was joking at first, but I had never seen a piece of equipment like that. But that was how everything got started for me. When I went to PG College to take the courses, because that's what's required first. And I thought there was going to be a problem with that. I said, well, there's no way in the world that, I had taken courses there before, but I said, there's no way in the world that I'm going to be able to get into a class like that. I assumed the waiting list would be years, as if they're teaching real TV, there's no way I can get in there and walk right in there, signed up, and took the classes. I think there was only one class that I couldn't take because there were not enough students there, so I was stunned. I couldn't believe it, But so I started taking the classes and got those done. Came over here and got qualified for field producer. So this has been an incredible experience for me, and right from the beginning, it was one that I knew I was going to be doing some major things in television. I'm still, just to this very day, kind of astonished that there aren't millions and millions of others that want to get into this field. You can do it for not hundreds of millions of dollars to get the kind of training.
Right.
It's affordable to just about everybody.
We'll have to have you tell us a little bit more too about the steps it takes to get involved in CTV, because CTV, I can attest to it. It really is a rare gem. It's something it's really great for people to come and learn. You could take classes here. You could do a lot of things and start your television career.
Yes.
So what about you, Saul? What's your history with CTV?
Well, about 14 years ago, I took a trip to Africa, and I borrowed somebody's video camera, and I did a slightly credible job, and I realized that there was a lot that was needed that I didn't have. And I was looking at television, and there was an announcement about the classes here at CTV. So I came over, and all I really wanted to do was just take better pictures with a video camera. But the classes sort of accommodated me, and I accommodated the classes, and then some of the classmates encouraged me to do more and more and take another class, get this under your belt. And then I'm a nerd, so I studied, and I was fascinated, and I studied some more, and I was fascinated, and I mastered some things, and Next thing I know, I was a producer, a field producer. Then I was a producer. And I helped a lot of people, and we made friends with other people, and they had their interests, I had my interests. We coincided. In fact, most of the people that we talk to outside of our business or homes are these people. In fact, some of us come by just to see what the other guys are doing, and some of us want to keep secret because they think they're going to steal our intellectual gems. But I says, hey, everybody can do something better, so give us a gem and we can make it grow.
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
But that's how I got into it. I got more and more interested. Got some buddies that I used to do shoots. I can do my interests. I had a political show at one time. Right now I have the Kindred Show, which is a book show, but it's full of very smart ladies, black ladies, that talk about books and they make it personable. Sort of like Oprah used to do with her show, you know, it's me, and they relate everything to themselves, they relate everything to here, and it's won awards at this organization, and it's won national awards.
And that's one of the things I really love about your show too, is that, and CTV in general, is it provides you with an opportunity to bring light on like topics that you want to put in your show that aren't necessarily as highlighted in mainstream television.
Exactly.
Too.
And also we don't become caricatures. Mainstream, especially with the so-called reality shows that are scripted, you know, we're clowns, we're fools, we're buffoons. Not on my show, not on my watch. What about your watch?
No question about it.
You know it's not on Saul's watch.
You know, we are portrayed in the manner that we are portrayed because of jealousy, really. You know, if you really look at it, that's what's done. So here's an opportunity for us to portray ourselves in the real light. It's kind of almost a miracle that some of us had opportunities to be on mainstream television as early as we did. What's the gentleman's name? There have only been a few, you know. So that again is another reason why I'm kind of so surprised that there aren't people out the door.
But
wrapped around the corner trying to get in here.
That's just another reason why. But another thing too, I've lived here for years, and I remembered one day that I had been here when I was younger, and I realized I wanted to get back into TV. I wanted to learn more, but I remember. I guess a lot of people don't. I guess sometimes maybe I would say in their defense, maybe they don't know we're here. So that's why I'm glad we're talking about it now.
Yes.
Because I mean, we're really right in the backyard. And you know, we jumped ahead a little bit. Let's see. So we know that you all have been producers here with CTV for years. We know that you know how you all were introduced to CTV. But like me, I'm new to CTV. I would consider myself a beginner. Let's kind of break it down for people that want to get in on the ground floor, that want to come sign up for classes here at CTV next. So, okay, to get to your spot, you have to take classes, right?
Yes, Prince George Community College.
Okay. Well, no, actually CTV offers classes. Now, remember, see, that's how we've evolved, because back in '92, remember you said that you had to take classes at community college, but now, to become a producer here, you have to take a series of classes, and then you get to the point where then you can be in the conversation of having your own show, like you do. So like we had a class together.
Yes.
We started, I believe the first one was studio production.
Yes.
We learned a lot about you know, basic studio production. Anyone, if you don't have to have experience prior to, because I didn't. That's right. And you learn a lot and you meet people, and then it takes you into, what's the next one? Producing and directing. We got into that.
Exactly. Editing.
Then there's editing class.
Yeah, that's very, very important. Field production, studio production, editing. There'll be classes on lighting. There'll be classes on sound. You know, those are.
So it's all covered here.
Yeah, those are major topics right there.
All covered.
When I came through, the lighting was a separate class. Sound was a separate class, you know, over there. It's absolutely wonderful that they offer the classes right here at the television station as opposed to having to go over to PG College. Of course, I loved it over there too, you know, as well. But like you said, things have modernized and updated themselves so they can just a one-stop shop now. That's fantastic.
So not only does CTV have you covered here from the classes, you can take all the classes that are necessary, and then you can become a producer if you stay consistent with it. And by a producer, you can be in charge of your own show that can air on the program. But another great thing too, and saw like your input on it, is what I've noticed was how flexible CTV is with your schedule, meaning anyone, like we said, you can come from a beginner skill level and learn everything you need to learn. But you've been here, you say 14 years? Over 14 years?
Over 14 years.
So, and you know, we all have jobs. How's it been for you with that? How have you managed for 14 years to still do your show? And you know, I know you probably had to start with the classes a long time ago and do those. Well, you said 14 years. Okay. So how can you speak to the flexibility of CTV now these days?
Well, depends on what you want to do, because you can do anything you want to. And say like, you basically been talking about studio shows, but if you take just the first class, that's field production and editing, you're qualified to go outside the studio, bring in any subject that you want to, and as long as it complies with their television standards and not obscene, it can get on CTV.
Yep, and it's like we said, you really can't beat it. It's a gem. So, you know.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Go ahead, yeah.
They have the equipment that, you know, once you qualify, that they loan you at no cost.
Yes. And you can, and that right there, you've seen, you can make all kinds of shows. You have at your fingertips access to all of this equipment that would otherwise cost hundreds of thousands of dollars.
It's absolutely incredible. After 1 year, I got started. Within 12 months of me starting here, I had my own television studio at my home. I bought all my own equipment.
And you can also, in that time span, if you take the classes, if they work out that way, in a year or less than that, you can have your producer's card if you stay consistent. So CTV works for everyone. Now, real quick, you know, we're almost out of time. How can you say CTV has brought your dreams to fruition or made your television dreams come true? Has it been bigger than you ever expected here at CTV? Less than? I mean, how do you feel your dreams have expanded?
It's still astounded. I am just as excited as I was the first day I found this station even existed. I still can't believe it. I have very important intentions for this audience and mainstream audience as well, if I have an opportunity there. But this would always be my home. You know, where do you get this? How many times in this country is this being allowed to be available to the general public at large for pennies compared to millions of dollars to go to these big time schools to get this kind of training?
And you can't beat it.
It's impossible. You can't beat it.
What about you, Saul? How has it changed? How has CTV brought your dreams to fruition? I mean, you know, you have your show. How has it made your television dreams bigger than you ever could imagine?
It improves and expands your world. I had done a lot of traveling in some of the towns that I've gone to. I've gone to the public television or public access stations in those towns and seen what they've done, and not many of them compare with CTV, because CTV also does a current news program for the county and surrounding areas.
Which keeps it, so like CTV just has us covered all the way around. So for people that want to be like us and take the classes and learn more about CTV, go to pgctv.org to find out more information. And that's all the time we have for now. So I hope that you all got your fix of spiritual and intellectual nourishment from today's show. Again, I'm your host, Keanna Swindell, and we'll see you next time on Food for the Soul.